have an abnormal love for SimCity, the Super Nintendo game. If you look at what the game actually is, I should not love it as much as I do. SimCity was a game whose mechanics were complex, but its code was simple enough to be ported to almost every other console imaginable. So, the Super Nintendo version is just another port, one lacking the mouse that the game was made to be played with little flares added by Nintendo that wouldn't be there if it wasn't a launch title for the system. Yet, I love it more than any of its mouse-based counterparts and more than most other Super Nintendo games. It's hard to explain why, but if I start explaining how the game works, maybe you'll understand why I love it. First thing to understand about SimCity is there's no way to lose SimCity. There's no game over screen. Your goal is to build a city. You can do well and make a megalopolis, or you can do poorly and make Detroit. Just like in real life, if you've made something you regret, you can't undo it. But you can summon Bowser Godzilla to come and attack it. A city is comprised of three main ingredients: residential areas, commercial corporations, and industrial zones. Industrial zones provide jobs, commercial corporations provide goods and services, residential areas provide a place to live. Those things feed off each other like rock, paper, scissors game, except when someone loses, everyone wins. If you're unsure how to place these zones, just imagine a donut. Then imagine a bigger donut around it. That bigger donut is your industrial zone, and the inner donut is your commercial areas acting as a buffer from the pollution produced by the industrial zones. Then, that empty hole in the middle is where you put your residential area. Yet things can't be that simple. Everything needs power, which needs a power plant, which needs distribution by power cables, and everything has to be connected by roads. And people don't want to live in high crime areas, so you need police stations. Where are you going to put your house, or this casino, or this park, airport, shopping port, fire department, library? And for the love of God, the people want a stadium. Where is their stadium? It can be overwhelming at first, so here are some beginner tips. Always build a power plant first, and use a nuclear power plant instead of a coal one. Nuclear might be twice as expensive, but it doesn't produce pollution. And trust me, you'll hear about the pollution. Roads also produce a lot of pollution, so use railways instead. You see these bars in the corner? This indicates demand for your three main zones. The farther below the letter the bar is, the less demand there is for that resource. When the bar gets to the top, those zones are in high demand, and newbies panic frantically, buying and placing those zones on the map to meet demand, but don't. High demand is good. It builds up your weaker areas, making everything around those areas grow as well. Never take out a loan from the bank. Be patient. You will get paid in taxes every year in January and can slowly build up your city. You don't need a fire department on easy mode because there's no fires on easy. Map 061 has the most amount of land in the game and is considered the best map. If demand is high, increase taxes. If demand is low, decrease taxes. But always keep your taxes between 5 and 10%. As you can see, it's easy to get lost in trying to maximize your population and city success, yet this doesn't even scratch the surface of strategy. If you're not destroying hospitals to zone stack, multi-build those R-tops around your donut, then you're not even living. Yet, you don't have to strive for building the biggest, bestest city. You can make one that looks like your hometown. You can make one that looks like what you wanted your hometown to be. There is also an infinite money glitch in the game, so you can build whatever monstrosity you want instantly. I get that almost every SimCity game has this same addictive gameplay, so what makes the Super Nintendo version the best? First off, it has an incredible soundtrack. I can honestly stand here and say that I have personally listened to the SimCity Super Nintendo soundtrack more than any other video game soundtrack ever. It's 30 minutes long, so the next time you have a drive, treat yourself to that soundtrack. There's also something special about how the Super Nintendo processes things. The colors are so unique and comforting. The sound is always warm and stirs up feelings. When December hits and the screen changes, covering the town in snow, it's really something magical. What really makes this version shine, though, is all of its little details. Seeing and hearing the train move around the city, hearing the boat's horn sound off randomly in the water, the patter of placing greenery around your building, it's all incredible. Yet the most important small detail of all is that the game was co-developed by Nintendo. So you have 6 fun scenarios that have been added to the game, the creation of Dr. Wright, and Bowser as a natural disaster. Sure, this is like Nintendo just tacking on their logo to a pre-existing car, but without that logo, something seems off.
Now, that's how people know it's a Honda!
I think why I hold this game so highly amongst other games is because it's a product of its time. It's a unique gameplay premise that wasn't duplicated before or since. It came out just before the internet and, of course, smartphones. Parents couldn't just hand their kids a phone to keep them busy for a few minutes. They had to go to the store and buy them a game like SimCity. Not an intense game like Zelda, where when it's time to leave they cry, but the slower-paced game that rewards you for not playing it by giving you more in-game money. I do believe the spirit of SimCity lives on today in the indie space and mobile. Games that capture its vibe are ones like Minecraft or Tiny Tower. However, those types of games do not have the production value that SimCity SNES had for its time. And especially in the mobile space, I feel like all its great little details are taken away to focus on its mechanics to get you to shell out real money instead of waiting. It's a bastardization of what SimCity SNES was. I don't believe we will ever get a game like SimCity SNES ever again. It's for all those reasons I so awkwardly, abnormally, and weirdly love this game. Where can I play this game? Might just be one of the most depressing questions to answer. Physical copies of the SNES cartridge still run cheap, and I got mine recently for $5. I know not everyone still has a Super Nintendo lying around, and the lack of a re-release means that most people will have to turn to other means to play this game. I genuinely believe we can see this game get released on Nintendo Switch Online, as Nintendo has made it clear that they plan to keep expanding the Super Nintendo collection. Also, Nintendo was involved in the development of this game, so they partially own the rights to it. It's also a perfect fit, not too big or too small of a title that they can give away for free on their service, but there has been no insider information leaked that this will happen, so it's probably wishful thinking. But if it ever does release, I will make this exact sound. If you want to experience this game without buying ancient hardware or using alternative means, I highly recommend 2 Let's Plays of this game. Valcorn has a very comprehensive and easy to understand explanation of this game, where he really covers just about everything you could hope for in the game. H.C. Bailey's Let's Play is much newer, extensive, and detailed. The footage is of much better quality and is primarily what I used in this video. However, he is a very dense Let's Player, and as a viewer you can get lost if you don't have a baseline understanding of the game or pause to comprehend certain statements. But definitely a very good Let's Play that finally kicked me into making this video. I went ahead and put both playlists on the screen and in the description below. Love you, bye.